What is up, guys? It is right now like 10:43 at night, pitch ass black outside. Now you have to excuse what little bit of a mess I've got going on over here. I was in the middle of a personal project when a bit of breaking news came across my phone that Baltimore is in a state of emergency over all the rioting. So I decided we are going to talk about that today, and I'm going to tell you guys something right now. This might be offensive. This video is going to have my personal opinion, my honest personal opinion about that whole matter, and we're probably going to talk about a few other things. Why not? But nonetheless, this is going to be a very opinionated video, so hey, if you don't want to hear what I've got to say, you can click away. There's a nice X up in the corner of your screen. I'll give you a second to click that. Yep. Go towards the light. Yep. We good? Alright. So for those of you who are still here, that means, obviously, you want to hear what I have to say about the whole matter. Now, we're going to talk about a few other things. We're going to talk about the news in general. I watch the news every day, so I'm usually pretty well informed. There are some minor details that I don't have all the information on, so if I get something wrong, feel free to correct me. I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm wrong sometimes. So, like I said, you can correct me in the comments down here below if, I say something wrong. Don't try to correct me on my honest opinion, though, because that's mine. I made that one. That's what I think. And you're not going to change it. You can present facts, and I might say your facts make sense. But you're not changing my opinion. So before we get into Baltimore, let's sit here and talk about the Supreme Court. Now, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, the article I saw said Tuesday. The article said the Supreme Court is going to decide whether or not same-sex couples should be allowed to be married, or if that falls on the states. Now, I could be crazy, and I could be very crazy and wrong when I say this, but I believe every state should recognize same-sex marriages. For the simple fact that I'm fairly certain the United States as a whole recognizes any marriage that happens within it and protects that marriage. If I go out and marry somebody right now, here in Virginia, if I go to West Virginia, that should be recognized. If I go to California, that should be recognized and protected. But it seems to be this issue that you can't do that because the Bible says no. There's a separation between church and state. You Christians aren't going to like hearing it, but hey, it's a fact. It's in the Constitution. What happens in the Bible has nothing to do with what should be happening in politics. Those are two completely different things, and they're completely separate. I'm sorry you don't like it. You don't want people to be happy? How about this? And I'm not being serious here, but let's just say same-sex marriage is legal, but not your traditional marriage. No, that's going to piss some people off. Who are you to sit there and decide you don't love that person, you guys can't get married because you're both men or you're both women? The fuck? Seriously? Anyway, that's just my call on it. I think yes, same-sex marriage should be a thing. Let's move on to perhaps the next thing. Let's talk about Bruce Jenner. I like this guy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much about him other than he has some kind of relationship with the Kardashians, and he's transgender. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's about all I know about him. uh, and he's been on the news a lot, and he's been talking about it. And for my own personal reasons, I can get behind and support this guy. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah. So your device in my hand. For my own personal reasons, I can get behind and support this guy. But I'm not going into detail about those today. That's not what this is about. Maybe some other time I will come on and tell you guys all about why I can support this guy. The only problem I really have is just how crazy people are going with it, news-wise. I understand this is a big deal, because it is. To somebody like that, it's a big deal. That's something it's really hard to deal with, because that's something that you go your entire life knowing that something is wrong with you and not knowing how to fix it. And it's hard to come out about that. I know it's hard to come out about that. And, for a lot of people, it shakes things up for them. And when it comes down to it, some people just don't they don't come out about it. They don't shake up the status quo, and that really hurts them, not just down here in the heart, but it really hurts them up here in the head. Depression. A lot of transgender people commit suicide, or at least attempt to commit suicide. I think there's a study that says 60% have at least attempted. I've been there. And that's just because of the society we live in anymore. They say that's not natural. It's not natural. You were born a guy. It's not natural to want to be a woman. But that's what goes on up here. That's what goes on in here. It goes back to, who are you to tell somebody how they can be happy? To tell them that there's no way you can be happy with this, because that's not natural. That's not the way God intended it. Oh no! No. I'm, just no. Let the man be happy. I'm only saying let the man be happy because I saw earlier he completely requested that for the time being his family still call him Bruce and refer to him with male pronouns. So I will also respect that. No, that's a hard thing to deal with. And we'll talk about that in other aspects in another day. That is definitely something I want to talk a lot more about. So yeah, there's that. Let's move on to... I want to talk about the weather here recently, because the weather's fucked up. But let's move on to Baltimore right now. We'll step into Baltimore. Now, this whole ordeal is because some officers arrested a black individual who died in their custody. And really, that's what this has come down to. Black versus white. Look at me. Hi. I'm white. And that's just, if I say I'm proud to be white, I'm a racist. But I don't see it that way. We're gonna go. We're gonna look at the dictionary right now. This is where things start to get a little offensive. Let's talk about the N-word. Blacks can say it, but whites can't because that's offensive. Nigger. That's the word. A lot of people don't even say it. The actual definition for nigger is someone, regardless of race or ethnicity, who is inferior to another. Regardless of. It doesn't matter if you are black, white, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Italian, Russian, German, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you are inferior because you're just a flat out idiot, you're a nigger. Doesn't matter. It's not just blacks or whites. And I'm going to say it. But this has come to a point where, and this goes into something else I've been having issues with, and we'll talk about it on another day. Offense. I'm offended by that. You offended me. So what? Like I said, we'll talk about that on another day. But being offensive almost like it just entitles someone to something special. Why? Somebody tell me why being offended by an honest opinion entitles them to special treatment. Or let's talk again and let's jump to across the country. I believe it was Nevada. Now, this story was it was in the news feed a while back. I think it was actually last year that this took place. Last year in March. A white man, unarmed, was shot and killed by a black officer. Do you guys remember hearing about that? Well, unless you actually lived where that took place, you probably didn't. That's not something that got broadcast. Why? Why didn't that get national TV? But this is. Because... okay, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have a reason why. It doesn't make sense to me. And, you know, that's just my opinion. That's just me not understanding that. But, is there some special treatment here? Oh, a black man got shot. Let's broadcast this on the national news. A white man got shot? No, we can't do that. That just completely destroys the, you know, the idea that blacks are, what's the word, special. That they need special treatment to feel important. You got a black president. I don't think you need special treatment to be important. But, let's look at this. Now, the gentleman who was shot, or I don't think he was shot, but the gentleman who passed away up in Baltimore, my condolences go to the family. Not just for the fact that they lost their son, that they lost a part of their family, but for the fact that they requested that today would be a day of mourning. Now, keep in mind, it's Monday, April 27th. They wanted today to be a day of mourning and remembrance. No protesting, no demonstrations. But what happened? There's a riot. You can look at the videos of the riot. There's a CVS pharmacy. Oh, I'm sorry. The CVS pharmacy. That's the one. Yeah, they're the reason that the Mr. Gray, I believe, was killed. They're the reason he died. Oh, that neighborhood you guys destroyed. Each and every one of them, they're to blame, right? No. They didn't do that. When it comes down to it, regardless of why Mr. Gray died, it didn't have anything to do with the pharmacy that was burned and looted. It didn't have anything to do with the neighborhood that was destroyed. It was the police. But what good is violence going to do? That's not going to bring him back. You know what that's going to do? That's going to make you the criminal. You go out here, you riot, you destroy property. That's illegal. You know what that actually is? And this is where a little bit of dictionary time is going to come into play. That is niggers going out and perpetuating a stereotype that black people are criminals. That is not black versus white. That is niggers. Stupid, inferior people perpetuating a negative stereotype. Is that really how you want to be known? You want to sit there and say, look, black people are criminals. Something bad happened that we don't like. We're going to burn down this store. Is that how? And call me a racist. Call me a racist because I used it. Listen to rap songs where it gets dropped non-stop. Call me a racist because I said nigger. to refer to stupid people perpetuating a negative stereotype. Go for it. But when it comes down to it, when it all boils down to facts, these riots don't have anything to do with Mr. Gray. They're not helping anything. They're not going to bring him back. They're just making more criminals. And this is a stereotype that already exists. When I can watch the local news and I can see, a lineup of 6 criminals for 6 different offenses, and 5 of the 6 are, black. There's a stereotype that already exists. Don't perpetuate it. You want to make a demonstration? You want to be like, we're not all criminals? Don't riot. Do something more. Do something better. Do something that's not illegal. Peacefully demonstrate. Let's look at Ferguson. A lot of people don't know this. I took a trip back the end of December. And I actually had to drive right past Ferguson. And let me tell you, there was some smoke. There was some smoke in the air. But what does that do? Again, if you peacefully demonstrate, that's protected. Your freedom of speech, your freedom to, to a peaceful demonstration, that's protected in the Constitution. You going out and burning down entire city blocks is not. That's still illegal. If I go out and do that right now, I'm going to get arrested. But here we have the police officer standing by, just in a line, letting them do it. Just arrest them all. That's illegal. They're basically, forgive me, they're basically homegrown terrorists. These not Al-Qaeda, not ISIS. These are homegrown terrorists going on their own crime spree, and you're just letting them do it. If they were white, the whole lot of them would be locked up. Where's the special treatment? Who's the one actually being oppressed? Is it the black people who are just allowed to go out and destroy, all the idiot niggers? Because I know there's white people in those crowds too. I know there's Mexicans, there's Asians, there's Europeans. They're all in those crowds, rioting, destroying all the niggers, all races, regardless of race. Somebody is in there to represent everybody, destroying city blocks. Or those of us who are actually law-abiding citizens and have to clean up that mess. Whether we're white, black, Asian, whatever. Those of us who are law-abiding citizens with common sense who have to clean up the mess left behind. Who is actually being oppressed? But that's just my opinion. That is solely my opinion, and some people are going to agree with it, some people are going to disagree, and that's your right. Welcome to America. As somebody once said, that's your right. But we live in America where one person is right and usually the other guy comes around. And on a matter like this, I don't think anybody's right. I can present facts with my opinion, and somebody else can present facts with theirs, and they might all make sense, but is there even really a right answer? Anyway, that's a pretty serious note. I don't usually delve into that kind of thing unless I'm with a group of friends. But no, it's just something that's been bugging me for a while. But let's move on and talk about all the natural disasters here going on recently. Let's look at Nepal, an earthquake, 7.5, 7.5, 6.1 magnitude aftershocks. That's not the actual quake. That's just the shit that's going on after. That's huge. That's more than what hit Haiti a few years ago. It's huge. we probably don't have anything to do with that. We probably can't help that. But we can help with recovery. I'm going to try to find some links. I'm going to put them in the description below on how you can go and you can help with that. Who you can call and talk to, where you can donate money, all that, because that is an actual issue that we need to pay attention to. So you guys should definitely do what you can to help out. Don't do anything more than what you can. But I'm sure they would appreciate a lot if you could, I don't know, send a case of water, a case of bottled water. That goes a long way, so you should, if you can, you should definitely help out with that. I think they'd really appreciate it, and it might make you feel a lot better about your day. But let's talk about it a little more domestic here with the weather. If anybody's actually been paying attention, and those of you in Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, all that good nonsense, it's a mess down there. Tornadoes ripping through Texas. I know my fiance lives in Louisiana at the moment, and she's telling me how the roads are washed out. There's alligators in the ditches. And we're not talking like little tiny road ditches, apparently. I've been told that they have really big, deep ditches, alligators in them. And apparently people just let their kids swim in those. That's something she saw. I haven't actually been down there, so I don't know what it's like. That's just the information I'm getting from her. They were under a tornado watch this morning. Bridges, trains are falling off of bridges. I mean, it's a real fucking mess. And there's more coming. What they got today is nothing compared to what is coming, apparently. And that's really bad. But because we're so focused on everything else, because we're so focused with Bruce Jenner, because we're so focused with the Baltimore riots, what the hell, man? We're so focused with everything else that's going on that we're not even paying attention to the people in Texas whose homes have been destroyed, who have nowhere to go. We're not paying attention to the people in Louisiana whose homes may have just been flooded and now have nowhere to go. We're not paying attention to all these places that desperately need help. But I suppose that's always the way it is. We can have issues all over. Anybody hear anything about aid coming from outside of the United States when Hurricane Katrina hit? If anybody even remembers Hurricane Katrina, I was little. I was pretty little when Katrina hit. But I don't recall hearing anything about getting any aid from the outside. Up in the northwest, or the northeast, where they're still dealing with where all the homes got destroyed by Hurricane Sandy, and they still haven't been able to rebuild. Some people are still in hotels. This has been 2 years now? Not quite 2 years. It's been a little over a year, and some people are still in hotels because their homes were destroyed by this storm that nobody thought was going to double back and hit them. Where's all the help for that? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't send help overseas, because they really do need it in Nepal. But, if you're going to send help overseas, and this isn't necessarily to the people who can't send much help. This is to the people who have nothing to do with their time. Let's say you're 18 years old, you're fresh out of high school. You don't have a job. You think that you've got more important things to do than work for money, and you sit at home. Don't work for money then. Go help these people that actually need help, because you're fortunate enough to have a home. You're fortunate enough to have food that you can eat. But some of these people are just losing so much. Take a week out of your damn time. Go help out. Now, obviously, that's probably not going to get very far. Most people probably aren't going to hear that and say, he's got a point. We can go help out. But you know, I'm sure some of you will say, you know, fair point. I'll do more of that. Maybe. Of all the people that might see this, maybe at least one will go do that. But that's just me. Anyway, that's my opinion. And that's pretty much the news. Let me double check real quick and make sure I'm not missing anything. Let me see here. If you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe in the button below. It helps me out a lot. Also, you can get more of these videos when they get posted up. As for me, you guys probably don't care, but we'll talk about me another day. Probably. I'm going to try to do videos more often, and I say that all the damn time, but this time I really mean it. I want to do talking about the news every day. You know, just talk about what's in the news, give you my opinions on it. Let's see. Yep. No, bird flu in Iowa. But, no. Like I said, if you want to catch more of these videos and you want to get, you know when they're put up, click the subscribe button. And if I can, I might get a little subscribe graphic, and I'll put it up here in the light. Also, you can like the video. I'm pretty sure it's right beside the subscribe button. Looks good on my graphs if you do that. Also, you can support me. You can take just a few seconds of your time and click the ad in the video. That'll help out a lot. Yeah, it just helps out a lot. I can't think of anything to say. It just other than it takes a few seconds of your time, and I would really appreciate it. Or if you want to help out in another way, come on, mess, work with me. You can buy my book on Amazon. The link will be in the description as well. So you can definitely pick that up. Trials and Tribulations. And maybe we'll talk about that some more here in the coming days. But no, I'm Bloodfin. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And just remember, this has been my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. And I'll try to bring you guys the news tomorrow. See ya.